So if you saw my previous video on parent questionnaire, you will see the two questionnaires here. One's called parent questionnaire, one's copy. What we're going to look at today is look at some using it for a quiz, a self-marking quiz. This works better for maths, but also ones where you're looking for very specific language in a very specific form. You can get it to auto-mark. You can also, when used within assignments in Teams, you can allow people to write longer answers, and then you as the teacher can look at the answer and you can comment and mark it that way as well. I'll have a look at that a little bit later. But first of all, we're going to look at some auto-marking quizzes. So I'm just going to have a quick look at this one that I've created already. Actually, before I do that, I will just show you how you create a new one. If you're going to create a new one, you would simply click on New Quiz, and this creates a quiz. And just a quick quiz, what you'll notice is that when I add a choice now, you'll see, unlike in a questionnaire where I only had delete, I've now got display a message responses, let's answer, and I've also got correct answer. So you can add, there's a bit more information you can add, and it's also self-marking. So I'm just going to, how are you? And I'm going to put good. That's obviously the right one. And maybe we could write in here, really happy, and poor is my next one, and sorry, sad. And so that's my very quick quiz, and we'll have a look at that later. Again, you could have multiple answers if you wanted to, and how many marks would you get for it? So it's 2 marks. Do they have to answer it? Yes. And am I going to shuffle the options? Not for this. We'll look at that later. Do you want it to be a drop down? Well, we've seen that before. We'll look at maths a little bit later. And if you look at responses, oh, no one's done it yet. I want to go to preview first. And if I click on good and submit, I can view my results. Really, so this is what I would get as the end user. Really glad to see you're happy. If I go back, if I select poor, so I go preview. I click poor and submit. Oh, I think that's one response per person. So you're starting to see the slight differences here. If I go to here and go to settings, I can allow more than one response. And the reason it knows who I am is because I've set it so that only people in my organization can respond, and it records my name. So I've just done that. And I'm now going to do a preview. If I click poor and submit, I can view my results. And it says, sorry to hear you are sad, and it tells me I've got it wrong, and it shows you which the correct answer was. So you get to see how the quizzes work in a very basic form. So let's go and have a look at one that's a little bit more complicated. And this is one that I've started work on. A little maths quiz, sorry, a map skills quiz. So you'll see, what do these two letters stand for? And if you look at this question, this is a text question, and I've said there was a very specific answer. So if I go to preview, actually, I won't do. I'll complete it all first, and then I'll come to preview. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the answer. So I've got a very specific answer that I want, and it will look for that. Here I've got a slightly different question. Here I have got, and I have selected a drag, so I can move things around. So if you were looking at this, this is a ranking one, so you can drag up and drag down. So I've got 3 things in an image, and then expect to put them into order. And this is just a choice question. So I've done a series here of the same. I'm using, if you look, they're all very similar. So I've got a whole series of symbols. I just want to know whether people know what they are. So I have, these are in order at the moment of the symbols. So youth hostel. Next one is a train station. Next one are churches. Next one is a building, a turbine, a radio mast, and I haven't done the trig point yet, so I'm going to add another one, and I'll show you how to add the image into there and how to select a new answer. So I'm going to copy this because they're all the same, and I'll get around well, they're all in the same order. Surely people can just put the way down. I'll show you how I've got around that. So I'm going to delete the image, and I'm going to go and find it. So I've collated a whole lot of images, and I've got them in my user area, and this one is a trig point. It's the last one. So let me see if I find trig point. There is trig point, open. So that's putting trig point in, and I'm just going to click the tick box there, correct answer. And I don't want multiple answers. There's only one possible answer for this. It's worth 1 mark. It is required, but I shuffle the options. Every time people look at this, and different people looking at, or different students looking at it, will get them in a different order. That means that even if they're looking over each other's shoulders and say, well, I'll put the third one in, and the third one will be different for each child. And for every question, they will all be in a different order. Let me just go back through this. And I'm actually going to make it not required because it just makes it slightly easier to work my way through this. If you look at this one, because they were copied and duplicated, you'll see they've all got shuffle on. So that's exactly what I want. Let me pick another one, the first one, and just check. Yes, that's got shuffle on it as well. So I've now got my quiz written. I'll have a quick preview of that. And I'm going to put in boundary so. So I've not spelled it correctly. I'm going to drag these to the right order. Actually, these are in the right order, but I'm just going to drag them around. There we go. They're in the right order. Yes, I'm happy with that. What symbol is that? So you notice it's put them in the completely changed the order around there. Youth hostel. I'm not going to do them all, and I'm going to submit. Thank you for your response. View your results. So as you can see, I haven't got it right, but it tells me what the correct answer was. I've got those 3 right, so I've got 3 points. I've got that one right, so I've got a point. That one was wrong. Again, it tells me what the correct answer was, and that one, and that one. And as we go down, I can see what my correct answers were. Maybe you can put a thank you message in. I'm just going to go back to my answers. Now, you may say, well, I don't want them to see the answers straight away. And you can set it. I'm going to check to see whether I can show results automatically. You may decide that you don't want to show results automatically. So it's want to see the results after you reviewed their answers. So this then gives you the chance, one, to hold back. You don't give the answers straight away. So if someone does it at 5 o'clock in the evening, they can't do it and then pass all the answers on to their friends. So it enables you to hold back on the answers until you had a chance to look at them. Particularly, you may look at boundaries and go, well, they nearly got it, I'll give them that. Or if you've asked or put in a long question, answer question in there, they will then be able to respond. You'll be able to mark it and give a mark against that question. So let me, but as a teacher, I do get to see the responses. I can see how well people have answered it. And I can, if I've got multiple people responding, I can review the answers for James. And I may say, actually, I'm going to change my response answer to that one. I'm going to give 1 for that. And I'm going to give a comment to James. And I'm going to say, very nearly correct. So I've given them a bit of feedback, and I could then review. For the more students, I could review the next student, or I could look at it by question, and I could work through all the different questions for all the students. So that is that, and I can now post the scores, and they would then be able to see what their answers were. Back. So. A very brief insight into doing quizzes. And the reason for looking at this way is that when we come to look at quizzes in assignments, you will see there are 2 ways of doing it. And different methods allow you to do it slightly differently in where your marks will occur, or will appear, sorry. I could give it a theme. Again, slightly different themes here, but I can always create my own one if I wanted to. Let me choose that one. I can share this one with other people. So if I'm a maths teacher or a geography teacher maybe here, I could share this with other geographers so they could make use of it. I could share it as a template. We could work on it as a team. We share and collaborate. And you'll notice that the only people who can answer this one are only people in my organisation. And that's quite important because it collects people's answers. If I do, anyone can respond to this. What you'll notice in settings is that you can't say only one person can respond, or they can only do it once, multiple can do it. You can't show, you probably want to show results automatically because you can't return it to people. And to be honest, most of the time you're doing this, you are going to want to do it. Only people in my organization can respond. You're probably going to do only one response per person. You don't want to do it twice. You've got the ability to have a start date, an end date. So you can enable it at certain times. You can shuffle questions, not just the answers within a question, but all the questions can be customized, can be shuffled. You can do a customized thank you message. You could get, if you want to, asked to get a notification every time someone completes the questionnaire. So I'm going to go back to settings, and I'm going to, so only people in my organization can respond, record the name, only run response per person. If you want it to be anonymous, you could take that off. Notice it will still only allow one response per person. You might want to do that for a specific type of survey, and it will tell them it's anonymous. That's probably all you need to know about forms. Beyond the fact that you can also do branching questions in here. So if I come back to questions, you will notice that depending on what the answer would be, you can add in a branching question. So depending on the response there to this question, I could add branching. So depending on what answer they give, I could take them to different answers. And I can do maths questions. So let me just add one more question on here. Add new. It's going to be a text question, and it's going to be solve this sum. And if I go to maths, I can then enter an equation. X to the power of 4 equals 16. Solve this equation. Solve this equation. For x, or find the value of x, probably better. Find the value of x, and they just, what is the correct answer? And the correct answer would be 4, but you could have it as an equation. 2, 4 is 2. Okay, and I've now finished. And you can then share that with your students, either by copying and sharing the link or embedding it within your Teams assignments. And that's certainly the way I would look to do it. And we'll have a look at that